this is Linda Vettrus-Nichols, and do I have an amazing person to introduce to you, Eva Hoffman. Welcome, Eva.
Welcome, everybody, and welcome, Linda.
Thank you. All right, so growing. Whoa, what does that mean for you? For me, it's like always learning. When we're always learning, we're always growing. How about you?
Yes, that's the that's the sense of the word that I use. Not necessarily about plants; it's about people.
Okay. Yep.
And as much as when we get older, as myself, we tend to get a little bit shorter. In other ways, I very much hope
that your brain expands even if you're getting shorter. I love that. Okay.
Yes, that's what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And then blossoming is kind of like bloom where you're planted idea. It doesn't matter where you are, you can figure out a way to blossom. And to me, blossom is like expanding. How do you see the word blossoming? What comes up for you when you hear
It
that
is
word?
expanding and becoming multicolored and multi-shaped and like a beautiful garden of flowers. When I watch young people, they are so beautiful. I live not far from a secondary school, and I don't teach secondary school children anymore. I don't do work with them, but they are just so incredibly beautiful. And I think, how wonderful it would be for me to find out who you are and what kind of flower you are now.
Ah,
Yes, they
yeah.
really are. Yes, that's the feeling I get when I see them.
Yeah, and they change so quickly too, just like a flower. Or I love how like sunflowers will go to sleep at night. It's like they raise their head to the sun. And it's like, I just got that at 67 years old. I just got that. It's like, oh, that's why they call them sunflowers. Because everybody, yeah, the Biltmore property isn't far from me in Asheville, North Carolina, and there's all these, people with their cameras out doing photo shoots down by this field of sunflowers. And then all of a sudden the sunflowers weren't all big and beautiful. And it's like, oh my gosh, they're like all hanging their heads and like they're
Yes.
going to sleep. Like what happened to the sunflowers? And it wasn't dark by a long shot, but the sun wasn't like directly on them anymore. That was like, oh, that's why they call it a sunflower. I love
Yes.
that.
You can see that in France, where there are fields of sunflowers. And this is, I remember, I observed that too. They just all go down.
Yeah.
But
And
even daisies close down for
do
that.
they? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, and there are other flowers, but I can't remember now.
Right. And do you remember in The Wizard of Oz, the field of poppies, and they all like fell asleep in the field of poppies? Yeah. That's another flower one, and that's definitely a expanding and blooming, coming of age movie. I love it. Okay, so deep roots. What comes up for you?
Yes, it is interesting that when a plant grows to be higher, the roots go deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And we can look at it in a bit philosophical way as well.
Yeah.
That we need this balance between growing up in this direction and going down as well,
right.
to keep somehow standing.
Yeah, stable. And it's really interesting that the trees that are able to really sway, and I suppose a tree doesn't have the ability to sway unless it has the deeper roots, but a tree that's really stiff will break in the wind, but a tree that has the ability to sway won't. And the aspen trees, they have an interconnected root system that depends one on the other. So if you start messing with one, you're gonna, kill the grove, which I find super interesting about aspen trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when I think about the roots, I also think about people. you know, we come from different countries, and our roots to start with, I'm talking about myself now.
Yeah, where are your
Where-
roots? In Finland then?
I am Polish.
You
And
are Polish, okay. And
I'm
then
Polish, but I've lived in England for 42, 43 years now,
okay.
which is a long time.
And your dad is he Finnish?
My dad and my mother, my father was half Jewish, but he definitely was Polish,
Oh, okay.
and so was my mother. Yes.
So,
So I am Polish. Yes, sort of 100%. But when we moved to England, the roots had to come out and be planted in a different place.
right.
And for some people, it's a very, very big issue
Right.
that the roots never grow deep enough where they have been replanted. And sometimes it happens with plants too.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine have gone quite deep. And but I don't have problems changing places because I get attached to people and not so much places.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but understanding your roots,
Mm-hmm.
I think, is important for you to be able to plant new roots in, to put new roots in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you never forget your first set of roots.
Right. And even to change, just understanding yourself in order to change what you choose to change. I love it. And seeds, you know, like think of the dandelions, like when they dry up and you blow them, like, whew, you know, talk about getting lots of seeds out there.
Yes. In the past, we were told that we have to destroy dandelions, and now my great granddaughters go around blowing. They say, "These we have to have more dandelions for the bees."
Yeah.
Children, yes, children understand.
Yep, absolutely.
Nature so much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
planting seeds is something terribly important for us teachers, because very frequently what we share doesn't necessarily start growing immediately.
Yeah.
But if there is a little seed somewhere, there is always an opportunity for growth. So,
yeah. And teachable moments remind me of seeds sprouting and
yes.
you know, now it's ready for a little bit more sunshine or this or that. So yeah, the foundations of learning are so critical, and having the patterns that are most connected, and maybe not the easiest to learn, but the idea, as you know, I do the imprinting, and just like a baby bird, the first thing it sees, it thinks it's its mother, right? And so yeah, and the thing that I see that stops a lot of growth is to put too much information to the brain. And when we ask anybody we're teaching with, if we ask a child to, like, they might kind of know their colors, to name their colors, they're locking all that down. So instead, like, this color is red, or just say red, let them hear it, red, and then repeat you, red, and then show them red, and then stick with that. And then the next day, redo that whole presentation. The next day, put that down, you know, to see if they can say that the color is red. If they can, then go on. And then after that, it's usually, once you've done the initial pattern of what is going to be taught, usually it's like every day. And even if like we talked about children with special needs, and all children are special, even if it's somebody who needs a little bit more, no more than 3 presentations ever. That's what I learned. It was incredible how, even like I told you, I worked with a child with like only a 40 IQ and got all kinds of typical academic abilities out of them. So that was really cool.
Oh,
All right.
yes.
Well, thank you so much, Eva. This has been great.
Well, thank you so very much for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.